What up, world? This is your girl, Aisha the Goddess, and welcome to my channel, Urban Awakenings. Today I have a couple of things to discuss with you guys. There is a thing that I was watching a video by Funky Dineva, I think is his name, and he has a YouTube channel, and he was talking about this culture in the black community. And I don't know if it's outside of the black community because I've never been outside of the black community, but about this that we cannot be honest about things. And I'm going to give you an example. If we're in a position where somebody says, "How are you doing?" We're going to say fine, even if we're not fine. We do not expose. We're not vulnerable with people we engage with. We're not vulnerable in relationships. And he said that he feels like it stems from shame. And he said that he feels like it stems from like a psychological shame that our parents press onto us. But I'm not sure if that is completely accurate. I feel like it might stem from a societal shame of not wanting to appear anything but perfect. And I further think that that stems from the fact that you can look at somebody's outside. You can look at them from your perception and they look like they have everything together. And that is the image that they project to you. They look like they've got it going on. They look like things are on the up and up. And the reality of the situation is they might not feel that way internally, but they're not going to let you know that because they don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to expose themselves. I don't understand why not. First of all, nobody's perfect. Second of all, there is a level of freedom that comes along with being honest about yourself, to yourself first and foremost, and then to others secondly, that leads to healing traumas. When we keep things to ourselves, like I saw this post on Facebook and it bothers my whole spirit. It says, shout out to everyone trying to heal from something that they don't talk to anyone about. And I said, impossible. Impossible. How are you going to do that if it's all inside of here and you're not letting it out? Where do you think it's going to go? No matter how much you try to suppress things that you don't like about yourself, or you don't want other people to know about yourself, or you don't even want to even deal with when it comes to yourself, all it's going to do is show up as dysfunction and sometimes in completely different areas of your life. I know of a girl who suffered really bad trauma at the hands of her own mother as a child. She has grown up and now she is incapable of having a relationship, a healthy relationship with other women. Someone that will genuinely love her and care for her, she will treat like shit. So what she did was she continued the cycle. Instead of it being her that's being treated like shit from her mother, now she's treating other people like shit, and she doesn't even see the correlation between the trauma and how she conducts herself in relationships. She actually told the person that she was treating like shit that she felt like she was healed from the childhood trauma. Like I told her, baby, this is delusion because people choose not to deal with their own shit. They choose not to deal with their own gunk and mud and dirty parts of their personality and their psyche and their spirit. And it's a vomit thing. It comes up and out. It's going to come up and out. And usually in a negative manner. This is why I don't understand it. I've always been a very honest person about my strengths, about my weaknesses, about my mistakes, about the things that I'm good at, the things that I'm bad at, the things that I just, you know, my struggles to this day. And I have this thing. I have this thing with myself. Whenever I'm completely honest with somebody about what I'm struggling with, prime example, I was going through this emotional thing, and I'm not going to get too much into it. Matter of fact, I'm going to make another video about it. But I told somebody, yes, this is emotionally, this is hard for me. And I get those, I thought you were a spiritualist type of feedbacks when I'm honest about my struggles. Oh, no, 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 baby. I am never the one to pretend like I don't go through stuff. Just because I've unlocked the keys to the universe don't mean that I remember what to do all of the time. It is very easy to forget that you are God incarnate and go back into ego and go back into feeding into the shit that goes on in your own life. It is so easy to get caught up and distracted. I don't walk a path of just complete focus all of the time. Sometimes I get thrown completely off my path. Now, granted, it doesn't happen as much as it used to, but it still happens. Me being honest about that. And then, it's times that I'm like, should I really be honest? Because I don't want somebody to use that against me, or I don't want somebody to judge me. And I think it's that ultimately. We're not vulnerable because we don't want to be judged. But at the end of the day, who the fuck cares what somebody else thinks about you? Does that mean that you're any more perfect? Does that mean that you're any less of God incarnate? You might have an issue. Who don't have an issue? Everybody's got an issue. I when I speak on my issue, I'll be like, that's my thing. It's my thing. Everybody has a thing. This is my thing. When I first turned 40, I had an issue with it. I had an issue with being older and not being the youngest, finest, skinniest woman in the room anymore, and not turning heads the way I used to. Like, y'all, I'm not gonna lie. I caused a traffic accident one time. I was looking so good. Okay? It's hard to just come down and be an ordinary 40-year-old. And nobody's checking for you, because guys that are 40 are checking for 20-year-olds, and guys that are 20 are checking for 20-year-olds. It was an issue for me. I didn't think it was going to be an issue, but it was a thing. It was a thing. And I was like, telling people this is a thing. I don't know why, but I have to, I have to grow into this. I have to get used to this. I have to settle into this 40 and eventually accept it and embrace it. It's a process. Just because you are spiritually enlightened, or just because you think you know a little bit, does not mean that all of those problems disappear. To me, the key to being free and your growth and your expansion is to be vulnerable. It is to be honest. I have a thing. Me and my daughter talk, because my daughter wants to be famous. And, my desires are to be successful and to be widely known. So I guess you could say I would like to be famous. I don't know about fame, but you know what I mean. I want to expand. Okay? And she says, I don't do this because I figure one day it might come up in an interview. And my thing is this: whatever I do, that somebody can double back and say, oh, you made a bogus ass comment on Facebook. Oh, you cut somebody out on Twitter. Oh, you went off on Instagram and told a motherfucker to get the fuck off your page. What you got to say about that? I sure the fuck did. Like, I don't do anything that I can't be honest about. So you can't use anything against me. If a dude come out of the woodwork and be like, oh yeah, she let me fuck her in the ass. Sure the fuck did. Like, you know, it's this, how can it be used against you? Is it going to take your life away? Is it going to take your livelihood away? And even if it does, and find another one. Like, it's God's plan. It's God's creation. No man has jurisdiction over you to judge you. And even if they do, so what? Those are words. Those are words. Yes, I would like to be looked at as the person that I look at myself as. I have knowledge. I have wisdom. I'm intelligent. I like to teach. I like to learn. I like to share. There's a thing that I don't do. I don't tell people about my spiritual beliefs unless they ask. Having a spiritual conversation, I don't indulge what I believe in because it comes off as arrogant and that my belief is the belief, when at the end of the day, everybody's beliefs has validity in what they believe. But people do it to me all the time. They talk and they'll spend 30 minutes lecturing me on their beliefs as the ultimate end all belief. And I'm like, see, this is why I don't do this, because now you're dominating my time. Like, I don't have other things to do. But, being exposed and being honest will only help you grow even more. It will only let you know yourself even more. I would encourage everyone that watches this video, if there is something that you have never told anybody, to find one person that you can trust and tell them. That is the beginning of your healing in that area. If you've gotten raped, if you've gotten molested, don't let somebody else have that power over you where that negativity is festering inside of you and now you have PTSD. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way you can heal, is to talk about it. You know what's funny? And I'm going to say this and I'm going to end this video. I think one of the reasons why I've never been, and I'm not going to even say never been, I'm going to say not that much, because I do think there are parts of me that have been negatively affected about the fact that I got molested as a child. But I've never kept it a secret from anybody. The first time I got molested, I still don't think my parents know. But I told my parents about the second time and they didn't really believe me. They brushed it off. So I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to tell them about the first time, because why the fuck would I? But I've always told my friends. I've always told my lovers. I've told my kids. I've talked about it. I've talked about it. I've never let it fester inside of me. So therefore, I don't have that pain from, I processed it, I came to the conclusions of, this is not your fault, even though for many years I felt like it was, because the first time that I got molested, I thought it was me being fast, wanting to sit around this grown man and talk to him. So then when he touched me, I felt like it was my own fault. I didn't realize, it took me years to realize it's not my fault. But it's because I talked about it. It's because I talked about it. It's because I acknowledged the fact that it happened to me. It's because whose judgment was I worried about? I don't know. Because I think that religion is so judgmental that it keeps people in these judgmental loops and fear of judgment as loops. And they end up crazy. And that's all I have to say about it. The doors of the church are open. You got my letter, Christian Experience, a candidate for baptism. But whatever you do, I need you to subscribe to my channel. I need you to click the bell, get the notifications, and I need you to visit my website, urbanawakenings.org. I have some goodies there. Okay. Put my commercial in, as I always do. For my first book, Real Life Enlightenment, it is a spiritual knowledge book written by moi, and it's on sale at urbanawakenings.org. And also, it's on sale. The Kindle version is only $3 right now. You cannot beat that with a stick, okay? Go check it out. All right, you guys. I love you. I'm about to get out of here. Take care.